tension, the absolute like peak right before that scare is what I wanted to, I guess, elongate as much as possible.
Air quality was not there, and eyes were burning and everything, but we toughed it out, and we did it, and it's gonna be.
It definitely taught me to trust my instincts, I would say for sure, and just like live in the moment as the character.
Wow.
What's my memories?
Who's Jacob Kaiser?
No idea. He's a man of many actions and feelings as well. He has this secretive side to him that he kind of keeps to everybody. And you won't see it really until you watch the film. But Jacob is just, his childhood, he used to grow up and have a lot of fun at the cabin in the lake here. And he was taught to fish in here. He really developed a relationship with his parents, everybody around him, but he's kind of turned south.
All right. What was your biggest inspiration and influence in the development of Jacob as a character?
Wow. That's a very difficult question because I honestly just did it. I kind of like did it with the help of Charles, and otherwise I sat in solitude for a long time. And the spirit of Jacob came to me for sure. He did. He came knocking on my door, and I kind of just invited him in for this film. But he just inspiration. I don't know. He just kind of came to me.
Okay. So what kind of techniques did you use to get into Jacob as a character after he came?
Wow, you can use this later. Write in your journal as the character. Take time out of your day as the character. Really invite the essence of the character into yourself alone. And dive deep into it, like everything from the shoes that he wears, his favorite food, his music, everything is essence. It's essential. And that's very important, I think.
Okay. With a lot of the darkness in Jacob's character,
You've been wearing?
does a lot of this follow you post-set? And is there anything you have to do personally to have a clean mind, so to speak, afterwards?
No comment?
No comment? Okay. What was the favorite part of your role as Jacob?
Taking Laura on the lake. That was beautiful. So good. Crazy. Taking Laura on the lake. That was really cool because Jacob, as a kid, he was taken out on the lake a lot, and I introduced that to her, and it was essential to me also, and it really hit deep. It's a really nice experience, and I loved it so much.
Very cool. Out of character, Orion, what was your favorite part of working on this project?
Every bit of it. Every bit of it. I do not have a favorite. Every single damn bit of it. The uncomfortness, being hurt, blood, sweat, and tears, literally. All of it I love so much because this is what I do.
How was working with Ryan on this?
I can express those words. I love the fact that he's able to work with somebody, and if you're not ready, you're not ready. He's not gonna force you, yell at you, everything like that, like force you into anything. And that's how it should be. If you're not ready, don't force it because then it's gonna be a mess. And this guy is, oh man, I don't know. He's a genius, and I'm just completely grateful to work. And everybody else, the cast, crew, just everybody has this energy, and it's awesome.
It's good to hear. How do you feel that your role in Ascension will affect your experience for future films or ventures?
I kind of just go step by step, and as of right now, I'm just in the moment and enjoying it. So really, I'm not thinking that far.
Okay.
I'm gonna work as hard as I can, but ultimately, I'm here right now, and that's what I'm doing.
So clearly you and Ashley were involved before the production of this film. How do you feel that your relationship with her affected your role in film?
Well,
Always the worst possible scenario,
I kind of
Jacob. But that's what
picked
makes you
her
good at your job in the OR.
to do this because I felt like it'd be easier because we have had a past, but I don't want to go further into that.
Okay. What was your favorite or most challenging shot to act out, and why?
Most challenging. Favorite and most challenging. Wow. Most challenging. All right. So, the shot that we were inside, and all the lights are coming through the windows. I got my gun. Laura's completely. I'm trying to protect her and myself, of course, and all of that, plus the smoke of the fire. I don't know what's wrong. There's something wrong with the damn ventilation, but air quality was not there. And eyes were burning and everything, but we toughed it out and we did it. And it's gonna make an amazing scene.
All right.
Blood, sweat, tears. It's all worth it. It's what we do. It's our job.
Well, what now?
What now? I guess tomorrow's never promised, so anything can happen. I'm willing and able to accept what happens, but I'm just here. I do what I love, and that's what happens to me. And all of you around me right now, I appreciate you so much. You guys are amazing.
You as well. Thank you.
And you're the smartest guy I know.
I don't know if I go that far, but I appreciate it.
Look, it's an amazing process. What now is a hard question because I can't really answer that. I really can't, because I don't know what now. I have to just see. I can only plan so far ahead. Like, tomorrow I know I'm gonna take a piss in the morning. But other than that, I don't know.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure working with you. Thanks for your time.
Hey, babe.
Hey, I was just gonna let you know.
Laura Kaiser is the lead role in the movie Ascension, and she's my role. But deeper than that, Laura Kaiser is someone who grew up in a really sheltered upbringing. Her dad, he was a CEO of a paper towel company, and her mom, she was kind of like very strict and kind of had like a hold over the father a lot. And so Laura like learned how to be really disciplined and like learned to be really kind really early on, because that's how she got her way with her mother. So she played flute and piano and ballet and loved gardening and just like really became this really kind person because of that. So that is how I would explain her.
Okay. So, what was the most challenging part of your role? Was there a favorite part?
The most challenging part of my role. That's a good question. I would say, I guess, the most challenging part is also the part that I kind of like the most and learned from the most, because, like, from my acting classes, we kind of learned to remember all of our lines and everything, and I think that's just because in acting classes, like, they tell you to do that. But, you know, because other kids don't remember and all that. But, like, it was kind of challenging, I guess, getting out of that mindset and then, like, allowing myself to be creative. But once I did that, I had, like, a ton of fun with that and liked that method. What was the second question?
What was the most challenging part?
Oh, wait, what was...
Or,
There was another one I thought, or... Okay. Was it my favorite part?
yeah, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part is, or was, going on the emotional roller coaster with her and tapping into flow state. And I really love thinking in character, like sharing, not even sharing the thoughts that she has, but literally like having her thoughts and just exploring how she thinks mentally and allowing myself to like basically unzip my body and let her soul come in and then like live in her experience.
Okay. Were these all the techniques that you used? Were there other techniques you used to get into your role?
Yeah, I did one technique where I'd like step out of Lanese and step into Laura Kaiser. So I did that. I loved doing that one, which I learned in class. And then I would meditate and like look a lot of stuff up to give myself that vivid visualization to tap into the role.
It's cool.
Thank you.
But what did this role teach you then?
It definitely taught me to trust my instincts, I would say, for sure, and just like live in the moment as the character. I mean, it taught me so much that I feel like I'm still processing everything that it's taught me, and I'll keep processing it as time goes on, but definitely just getting the practice and then just having gone through like a whole film was just so incredible, and I just really loved it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, does the immersion into your roles affect you post production? It seems like you get really deep into your character.
I feel like and it could change, but I feel like the act of like stepping in and out of the character was something helpful that I learned from Kevin McClatchy in my acting classes, and so I feel like that's really helpful for me to like differentiate myself and the character after the role. But I do think things stick and you remember that as you go on, especially certain lines. Like if you say the same phrase again, then like you'll remember that your character did.
So with how deep you get into your character and how memories can trigger past experience with that character, do you choose to carry any of the positive traits with you? Do you have negative traits that you have to shed?
I definitely feel like I'll carry some of her positive traits. And what's really interesting, and what me and Austin Jones always talk about, like my co-star, is we basically we talk about how things align in your life at the moment that you're like getting a role. And so like I feel like I was already focusing on like kindness and selflessness before I even knew like the lines and everything, and kind of got to know Laura and her soul. And then when I read the script and created like a Pinterest board around her and everything, I was like, wow, this is so crazy how it reflects. So definitely keep that part about her. The darker stuff, her experience as being darker is more like the fact that she was taken, which might linger. I guess I'll have to see.
Okay. How was chemistry on and off set? Were there any particular things that you remember about being involved with the crew and cast?
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't think this movie could have, been as amazing as it is and will be without the crew that we had, and the chemistry of literally everybody here, everybody on set that was so great, and it was just incredible, and just everybody had a different skill that they brought to the table, and that's kind of why I feel like it worked. But also, like, I think that like the chemistry that me and Austin already had a huge role to play to kind of create that trust between the characters.
I suppose you two had a past relationship. Did that affect anything within your role?
I think that it made the care and the love real, and yeah, definitely just made it really genuine and deep and connective.
What was it like working with Ryan on this project?
Freaking incredible. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he has so much passion for so many different things, and it's like an infinite well. And just like all of the cameras and learning the language of like videography, it's definitely like its own language. And I have like a background in photography, so I can kind of understand it. But just, I mean, you just absorb so much information, and it was just amazing. And I'm so thankful that I got picked to play this role, and I'm just thankful for the experience. But yeah, it was a big learning experience, and I just think so highly of him.
All right. What was your favorite shot?
My favorite shot was definitely the one where we're walking. Is it? I think it's. Hold on, let me think. We're walking, and then Jacob drops Laura. I think we're either finding Clayton or we're leaving. I can't remember, but it just felt like me and Austin were in flow state. We were completely in character. I haven't seen the footage yet, but I just know that was gold.
Awesome. What now?
Right now? Well, I actually did get like a email from someone who found me on Backstage, and they were asking me to be in a movie, so just continuing to pursue being in movies.
That's exciting. Well, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
So, okay, well, what got you involved in this film then?
Well, Ryan and I have known each other since 2004. We've been friends, gym partners, and about everything in between. Ran into Ryan probably about half a year ago, reconnected, and he mentioned this project he was working on and checked to see if I had any interest, and we collaborated from there, and here we are.
Right on, so you've been kind of production assistant, second grip. So you've been sound. You've done. I mean, you've kind of had like a multitude of like different assistant roles in this thing. What was that like as far as the experience?
Absolutely crazy. This has been my first time doing anything like this on a serious role. Granted, I've had some prior scene dressing training at Trollwood and Fargo, but outside of that, that's been 15 years ago. So it was a lot of on-the-fly learning. some pretty tense movements, some pretty fast movements. We had some really late nights, but all in all, it was great. It was worth every second of it.
What do you think the biggest challenge of the entire production was so far?
I'd say holding lights for long periods of time, and being mindful to sound quality when working close to the camera on set's probably been the biggest challenge.
Right on. What is the if you could think of one moment so far in the filming of Ascension that has been the most impactful, something made you step back and think, either like what were your thoughts on what scene was most impactful to you that you were a part of it? Because you've been kind of the guy behind the reflectors, behind the lights, behind the sound at times, so you've been involved in pretty much all of it. Like, what was the one part of the film that you think was most impactful?
If I had to pick anything, I'd probably say the last scene we worked on. Coming from kind of a rougher history, before life started making a little bit more sense, some of Jacob's darker aspects of his personality were really relatable. He delivered incredibly well in this role, and there were parts where it really reminded me of a lot of the pain that I experienced growing away from some of my more selfish tendencies and poor choices. And just seeing how a continuation of poor choices from Jacob towards the end of the film were a good set in stone reminder for where I am now. It was a pretty impactful role.
Nice. Yeah. Are there any like scary moments on set?
Losing contact with a drone mid-flight on a highway scene. That was probably half a mile away-ish, so yeah.
Yeah, me too. That was not fun. Do you have any future plans? Like, did this experience kind of open up any interest in filmmaking and production for you?
Yeah, I've always kind of had one, but ever since stepping away from Troll at the age of 14, 15, it kind of went dormant for a while. So stepping back into this, I love being involved in really fast-paced work environments where a lot of on-the-fly decision-making is made. It keeps things fresh, it keeps you on your toes, and I absolutely love the experience. And if there were more opportunities in the future, I'm sure I'd dive neck deep.
Nice.
Hold on, the little record button. This thing sucks.
Hey, Larry.
I wanted to buy a good one, but
So this, outside of Storm Chasing, was your first major film project with your dad. What was your experience like working on this with him?
On the film?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's been pretty fun here. I enjoy being back at the lake because I really like to go to this place a bunch, and overall it's been pretty good.
Cool. Do you feel, after your experiences watching the actors and actresses perform in their roles, did any of the scenes particularly stand out or affect you in any way?
No, not really.
Okay. Do you think you'd take on a career in film or production after your experiences working in it? Do you like doing this kind of stuff?
Well, as a movie volunteer, but it's not my dream job to do exactly.
Okay. How do you feel watching some of the darker and scarier performances on set?
I mean, like, they're a little disturbing, but they're not based really on reality, kinda, but they don't really affect me that much.
Okay, fair enough. How do you feel these experiences working with your dad and just working in film alone are going to help you grow as an individual? What have you learned through these experiences?
Well, I learned to, basically hold a don't even know what's called, like the pull for sound
Microphone.
microphone. Yeah, I learned how to carefully hold that while try not to make any noise in the background or coughing or talking in any way, and learned a bunch of new stuff, how to throw an axe. Yeah.
Okay. There, come here. He turned off sound. Okay.
Where did you draw your inspiration for Ascension from?
Well, I guess one of my, aliens have always kind of scared the hell out of me. I mean, ever since I was a young kid, and I remember being like 7 years old, watching Unsolved Mysteries and, having these stories about, alien sightings, UFOs, and there was a movie, I think, back in the late 80s or early 90s called Communion with Christopher Walken, who played it was based on a real quote-unquote story by an author named Whitley Strieber, based on a book about his experience with UFOs, and it's just the faces, like which is now pop culture, the big eyes, and that they were very, that I always just like really, really frightened me. I've always loved horror movies, and I've never, I guess, I've never penned a horror movie, so to speak. I've never really tried to do one. It's always been something I wanted to do, but I guess with Ascension, I wanted to kind of dive into a little more of not only the fear of the unknown, tapping into people's most primal gut fear, coupled with just the basic primal psychology of not being able to really be in control and being helpless, and then also throw a spin of a little bit of a spirit, put in question their spirituality or their religious beliefs, even, which will be revealed later on after people watch the film. But that's kind of what drew it, and I guess how that kind of came to fruition as far as an actual solid idea is I thought what better of a place than my family's lake cabin, northern Itasca County, Minnesota. Is very remote. There's like nothing out here, and I have had those feelings of, like, looking up on the stars at like 2 a.m. at the end of the dock and just being absolutely just like creeped out, because you can see every single star up here. You can see every satellite, and there's always been that thought, like, if a UFO just came here, what would I do? So it was kind of it was a combination of a whole bunch of things, I guess. How it came to fruition, I guess. I just started writing a general synopsis and figuring out some characters and their conflicts and plot arcs and how it was just kind of, I don't know. And all of a sudden, it's being written and just kind of went from there.
Suppose it was an interesting creative process doing horror for the first time. Aside from what you just mentioned, what did that look like for you?
Well, I guess there's 3 fundamental elements of a horror movie. There's step 1 is the lag, which is just basically the scene or character introduction, the plot intro, all the blah blah blah, we're going to town, here's this character, here's that character, then there's the scare, and the scare is the part in the theater, the people, the classic, the girls walking around with the candle and they turn around and, oh, there's a ghoul there, and so that's the scare. But in between the blah 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 and the scare, there's the build. And the build is what I really wanted to really hone in on with the particular scene when this presumably ship from another world has arrived after they see something they can't really explain, and they're absolutely mortified. So the build is what the tension, the absolute like peak right before that scare is what I wanted to, I guess, elongate as much as possible to really make it about as tense and comfortable as it could be.
All right. Well, with all the complexity in this process, did this script come to you all in order? Did you work on different parts at different points? Was it just kind of a flow process for you?
Yes and no. Like the synopsis, generally my process is I'll write the synopsis, which is generally like, 3 or 4 pages of some paragraphs of a general, like this happened and this happened and this happened, and from the synopsis comes the actual script and the dialogue, the scene descriptions, the shot types, everything down to, what type of lens I think should be used here, what the lighting should be, and things like that. A lot of it was, there were some parts that were an afterthought. I mean, there were some parts for Jacob's role, for example, that, as we were coming towards the end, or the start of our production up here, I just kept reading through the script, and I'm just like, God, there's just something missing here. And I was trying to figure out what that would be to make it a little more compelling, and also b to make it just more deep with the plot arc of both of the characters. And once I found that, I let Austin know right away, like, hey, what do you think about this? And he's like, yeah, this like changes everything, and he loved it, and we played it out, and I'm really glad that was added in there, because I think it really took this to the next level.
Okay. Well, when looking at the big picture here, you're a man of many hats. You're a trauma RN, you're a husband, you're a father, filmmaker. You make beats, you make your own music. You're a storm chaser. How do you decide to divvy up your creative energies in a way that allows you to be as effective as you are in what you do?
Honestly, one of my biggest faults is I'm a passionate person. I have many passions, but I think to a fault sometimes when I see something and I really want to go for it, I go for it and I do it. I guess honestly sometimes it's a struggle to be able to balance everything else,
Sure.
And I honestly, that's something I've never really been able to really figure out.
Sure.
As far as like, I have man of many hats, and I have many different lanes. But my love for filmmaking, honestly, it came from music. It came from I was a musician, a hip hop artist. God, I was even in a band when I was really young, but I was a hip hop artist in my early 20s, and I wanted a music video, and the one guy in town that did videos kept ducking and dodging me, and I just figured, well, I'll just take this money and go buy a video camera and just do it myself. And from that kind of evolved the whole new love for filmmaking, and with the storm chasing, the documentaries that are on YouTube and everything. Like, it's kind of like a mini series. It's called The Rear Flank. Everybody should check it out. But it's from that, it's really like it's just expanded like a whole new love for like this is like really something I really truly enjoy, and I guess it is a creator, whether it be music or visual arts, everything. It's just like the perfect synthesis of all that. Like it really comes down to like storytelling, and it's just such a beautiful medium to be able to like convey an idea out there to the world. So, but really, to answer your question, it just comes down to I haven't really figured out that perfect balance yet, and hopefully this takes it to another level where maybe I can do this as a primary source of income, and then hopefully the balance will come out there.
That's awesome. So you've already made a film before this, Aura. How has this film been different in comparison?
Aura was a lot. Aura was my first real introduction. You know, like a lot of people are getting into filmmaking. They do shorts, and I just like, nope, we're doing a full feature. Let's go. You know, and I learned a lot from Aura. I learned what does not work, and I learned what does work, and I learned from a lot of mistakes that were made in that film. It was a lot of like, and Aura, like, it's still dear to my heart. And I feel like there's, even though there's some imperfections in that film, I feel like the overall story was well told, and everybody in that film did a fantastic job. With this though, with Ascension, I feel like I've taken what I've learned from not just that film, but filming mini docs out in the field amongst violent weather to shooting people's music videos and everything. I've learned as far as the cinematography of everything, how to capture a certain aesthetic on camera, and not only that, but how to really bring forth just synthesize that with what the actors are doing. In Austin and Ashley have been doing a fantastic job. So like really my work as a director has been extraordinarily easy because they're just so great. So I think what with this, I think it's just something I can chalk up to experience and having really good people involved. And I've just my knife's just sharper this time, and it's more to the point, and we got a very, very large amount of work done in a short amount of time. It's turning out fantastic.
Cool. So, being a man of many hats and being involved in these large projects, one has to have a lot of trust in people. So, what is it like entrusting the interpretation and delivery of your vision to the actors you work with? What does that process look like for you?
It's been a lot of, there's been a lot of, especially with Austin, there's been a lot of discussion about the characters, and, both Austin and Ashley have thoroughly read the scripts, but on set, I guess it's been more of we're gonna do this scene now, and it just goes, and I feel like it's, I'm sorry, reword the question again? I'm just gonna re-answer that.
I guess, what is it like to entrust the interpretation and delivery of your vision to the people you work with?
Well, I think, put it this way. For one thing, everybody's an individual. Like we have our own. All our brains interpret the same thing that we all see a little differently. You got a circle of 20 people in a circle, and I whisper a couple sentences to somebody, and they whisper it to the next person, and it goes around. By the time it gets back to me, I guarantee you that sentence is going to be a little bit different. But the main point is conveyed. And I think what is important, what helps, what makes actors good, and thus making your product as a director good, is hit the main points, but I think that the actors have to be allowed to throw in their own spice on top of that. You know what I mean? Because it just makes it believable. Like there's a scene in Goodfellas, for example, where Joe Pesci and Ray Liotta are in this club. It's like 2 a.m. or something like that, and they're, you think, my funny guy, the funny guy scene, you probably, people know what I'm talking about, but that was all pretty much all improvisation. A lot of that wasn't even scripted, but he delivered what Scorsese wanted,
he just took it to a completely different level, and it worked. And it worked because the chemistry was alive and it was real, and that's what makes things look good on camera. And then that makes my job as a director and the editor extraordinarily easy, I think. And I can't wait to get home and edit this thing and start cutting. It's going to be fantastic.
So, given the amount of talent that was brought to the table in this project, what were the highlights of working with everybody involved?
Oh man, I mean, all of it really. Everybody's so willing, and everybody's so they match the same drive I have, you know, and I think we all believe equally in this project. We all have the same passion for it, and I think that has been the Bunsen burner that has kept this thing boiling the entire time. You know, like, I mean, we're now 5 days into production. We're 90% done. You know, I mean, we just have like a couple scenes left and we got it wrapped. And that, and even that, it wasn't rushed. You know what I mean? It was okay, boom, boom, boom. We have a half-assed schedule, and we nailed it. We went ahead of it, and a lot of, I mean, a lot of it was just so much. I mean, I just felt like I just had to like push a button on the camera and then just like see like pretty much yep, that was it, you know. And it's been so much of that this entire time. I feel so blessed to have the people involved and working with on this thing.
So speaking of the people involved, I know one interesting area of topic we came up with was the names of your characters. How did you come up with them?
I don't even know, honestly. So Jacob Kaiser, he is a certified registered nurse anesthetist, who's basically the person that puts you out to sleep and keeps you gassed in the OR, and he works under an MD. He's a very analytical person, you know, and he's also got a little bit of a dark side, which will be very well illustrated throughout the film. Laura's his wife. She's an OB nurse, and that's kind of how they met in their medical background. But because I come from a medical background, so I guess as far as like developing those characters, it was pretty easy for me. And I wanted the sciencey part of in the writing everything off part of Jacob to be, you know, he's a very, and Jacob's very analytical and very good at what he does, but he also I think scoffs at a lot of things that don't really make any logical sense outside of a scientific perspective, I guess, if that makes sense. So like, as far as like the names, I don't know, it just came to me, and I wrote it down and went with it. And I mean, a lot of it was like, I look at like pictures of Austin and Ashley and just feel like Jacob, you know, that fits. And it just I don't know, I can't even explain it. It's just like, yep, that's it. Yeah. That's her name, and there you go.
Fair enough. All right. So speaking of a lot of the people that came along, you brought your son with. Is this his first major project with you? What was that like?
It is, yeah. I mean, I figured, well, for one thing, he loves the lake up here, and I figured, you know, it'd be an excuse for him to come up here and kind of relax a little bit. I think he feels like his summer was kind of short, as do I, and it only gets worse. Kiddo, so look forward to that the older you get. But and plus I think he's a good helper, and I wanted to involve, you know, there's a lot of 13-year-old kids out there that aren't really doing the best in life already, and they don't maybe not afforded, you know, many opportunities. I mean, me myself, when I was 13 years old, I mean, my son's doing way better than I was when I was 13, you know. So I felt like I want to expose my son to as much good, positive, creative things early on, so I can really spark some sort of, you know, whatever interests he may or may not have, and expose him to whatever I can early on, so that way,
you know, when he's a young adult, I think it's just gonna benefit him. And maybe he won't do films, who knows? But you know, I just think it's a good experience for him.
Cool.
And plus, I didn't want to be away from him for like a whole week, you know. So like, yeah, figure if I could bring him with, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. I suppose with all this coming to a close and so much success having been accomplished with this project, considering a sequel?
It's certainly possible with the script.
Okay.
It's not closed ended.
All right. Well.
One could. You never know.
Well. This has been a fun project, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.